Okay, I've started a new metric part here, and what we're trying to do is to take this and show you a three-dimensional sweep. All right, so in order to do a three-dimensional sweep, we are now going to be sketching in all three dimensions at once. There are some pretty nifty features that allow it to lock in. So we'll just start with a line. And we'll say we're going to go vertically maybe 100 millimeters. And then we can go sideways, we can come down, we can go back, and you'll see it snap into position. And now we've got a path that we want to follow. Now, when we do this, a shape can't sweep along and make a right angle turn. It just doesn't work well. So we're going to do some fillets in the pathway. So I'm going to select the fillet, and I can put a radius in. So let's put a 10 millimeter radius in here. That'll give us plenty of room. Now, if we were designing a tunnel for children, we'd have to design it big enough for them so they would not get stuck. But for this example, I'm just using a 10 millimeter bend. And now we have a pathway that we can follow. And if we rotate this a little bit, and you can see that, all right, so we've got a three-dimensional pathway. And that works for us. Now, with a two-dimensional sweep, you needed a path and then you need a profile. So we're going to do the same thing. We are going to throw up a sketch on a plane. And the plane we're going to do is normal to a curve. All right, so translated into English, that means a plane at a right angle to whatever end of the curve we pick. All right, so I'm going to say normal to a curve, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to pick here. And it wants to know how far from the end do I want to be, and I want to be exactly at the end. And so then I hit enter, and it creates the plane for me. Now all I have to do is put a sketch on it. So I'm going to do a circle on the end. And this circle, let's make it 15 millimeters. And I can put a second circle out here. And I'm going to make that 17 millimeters, which would then be like 8.5 on the same center. All right, so now we've got two circles there. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going into this 3D sweep. So we're going to sweep, and we're going to accept the defaults. We're going to pick the pathway, and then we're going to right click, and then we're going to pick the sketch. And it creates this solid bend all over the place. So now we can use a different kind of 3D sweep. And this is a sweep cutout. So I'm going to say sweep. We'll accept the defaults. And again, we're going to pick the path that we drew. This time we're going to pick the inner circle. And when we do that, let's try that again. So we're going to pick a sweep. We're going to pick our path. And we're going to remember to right click to accept. And then we're going to go pick our inner circle. And you can see that we now have a tube. So if we were to roll this around, we can now see down the tube in both directions. So if I was designing a playground for kids, I'd want to have some climbing things that they could shinny up through tubes and things. And I'd make sure there was plenty of room so a kid couldn't get too jammed up in there, or an adult couldn't climb in to get the kid. So one of those design challenges.